Well, hey there, American farmsteaders. This is Jenny with the Grahamstead Family Farm,
Donna with Hazel Belle Farm.
and we are coming to y'all from Northeast Florida as two American farmsteaders doing our best to grow our own food and share our homesteading experiences with you in hopes that you'll grow a little food of your own.
Yes. Today we are talking with Jamie Bateman with the Pioneer Homestead Festival down in Avon Park.
Oh, Zolfo Springs, yes.
Okay, Zolfo Springs,
Yep.
around
Yeah.
that area, Central
Mhm.
Florida.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
We wanted to have you on to talk about something that is definitely needed in our niche of homesteading and small backyard farms. That is few and far between, and that is an in-print, actual, put in your hands magazine about homesteading. And
Yes.
so tell us about that. What's the name of that?
The name of the magazine is called The Florida Homesteader. And it is just that. It is an opportunity to read all the stories, to be encouraged, to be inspired by other farmers and homesteaders that are specifically to Florida. That's one of the reasons why we decided this. Our family has been homesteading for many years, and one of the things that we saw, especially when this homesteading tsunami kind of took effect across the country, there were so many influencers that were out there talking about how everyone is doing it, which is great, but nobody was really in print, anyways, talking about Florida. And we are a country of our own, I think.
Yeah.
We definitely are. Everything's different in
We
Florida.
have our own rules here in Florida.
That's true.
We do. We have our own rules, polar opposite. They say everyone is always so excited about planting from May to October, and it's like, well, May comes around, we're wrapping things up and going inside
Right.
because it's going to get
We're
too hot.
done. Yeah.
We're done.
Everybody else is just starting their tomatoes and our
Mhm.
tomatoes are done.
We're done. We're canning those tomatoes at this
That's
point,
right. That's
So we
fun.
wanted to just have something. It just really came relevant to us as we were doing this, that there's just not anything out there in print. And
Mm.
so through a lot of prayer and talking with others, we decided, you know what, let's try it. And here we are. We have our first issue is coming out at this point in just a couple weeks. And it's bi-monthly. Every other month you'll get a copy in the mail, but there's also a digital component to it. And then we have our podcast that we're helping the magazine come to life, and we're telling the stories that you read in the magazine. So we are
Cool.
so excited to tell the stories. The stories
How
have been pretty
fun.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really cool that you're like wrapping it all together, tying
Yes.
it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the stories I think that people crave so much,
Mhm.
and even if they're not successes all the time, like
Oh, no.
that's part of what we do in our intro that, Jenny says, and we're just sharing our homesteading experiences. Like
Mhm.
we need more of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because it brings to light, the reality of it and that, you can do this, this is
Mhm.
not hard,
Mhm.
there's resources out there everywhere. And I mean, it's so doable. So
Mhm.
we were just talking last week, like about meat chickens, like
Mhm.
when I finally did my first batch of meat chickens, maybe 10 years ago, it was like, we did it and we processed them. It was like, oh, wow. That actually wasn't that hard.
We can do this.
Yeah, so
They're
that's our
pretty
hope
easy.
is that we just, get it across to people that it's not that hard.
Well, and it's also one of the things that we have found is that it's just encouraging folks just to take that first step.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
try it,
Just
and
try
then
one thing.
just try one thing. Plant that tomato plant a herb or something along those lines, but just try it and
Right.
see how you do. And we're a huge advocate that even for those, we tell folks all the time, it doesn't matter if you're in 200 square feet or 200 acres, everybody can homestead.
Yep.
Everyone can do it. You don't have to have property. You don't have to have a cow. You don't have to have the meat chicken. And
Right.
what this looks like is that even if you can't grow it, because and there's some folks out there that are just they kill plants instead of grow them, and I get it. I think I'm still that kind of person. I'm
I still
trying.
kill a lot of plants.
I kill a lot.
Somehow
Oh, you
some food
needed
makes it to the
water?
table though.
Right. But we tell folks if you can't grow it, then you support a farmer who can. And you go out there and you buy your veggies, you buy your fruits, you buy your meat chickens. And you bring it home and learn to can, process it
Right.
yourself,
Mhm.
you can still
Yeah.
do it though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, being in the kitchen is such a huge part of homesteading, and
Yes.
everybody has a kitchen, so the
Yes.
kitchen's a great place to start.
Yeah, we always say
Making
that.
bread, making
Yes.
bread instead of buying the bread. It's all
Mhm.
those
Right.
things. Absolutely.
Right.
Making those simple swaps for, I always consider the things that I used to buy that we don't buy anymore. Or if we do, it's just that like they're in the back just in case we run out of the home stuff, the like the
Absolutely.
bone stock and condiments. And I can't even think right now, but marinara sauce,
Duke's mayonnaise.
Duke's mayonnaise. Yes.
There's something Southern about Duke's mayonnaise. Although I did learn
Yeah.
I have figured out how to make it at home and it tastes just
Yes.
like the store bought.
Yes, so it's kind of a joke in our house that so I usually make the mayonnaise anymore. Been doing that for several years now. And if it's not made fresh, I mean, that's not something that we're preserving for the shelf, right? It's always
Right.
fresh. And so if somebody used the last of the mayonnaise, God forbid, we are out of mayonnaise in our house. So I always keep a jar or two on the shelf of Duke's. So
That's not a bad
yes.
idea. My husband I think it was it was this morning. He was getting his lunch ready to go to work and I said, "Well, are you going to use he had pulled pork out of the refrigerator and I said, "Are you just going to make a sandwich? You taking it like that?" And he said, "I can't make a sandwich." I said, "Why? I just baked you bread. Like you got bread." He goes, "We're out of mayonnaise." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll make
Then
more
it's
mayonnaise."
impossible. I know. I can relate.
Game over.
That's how my people
Done.
are too.
No lunch
That
for
must
him
be a
today.
Southern thing too. You can't have a sandwich without mayonnaise.
No, it's
Yeah.
got to be. It
Yeah.
has to be. And it has
Yeah,
to be a
for
certain
sure.
kind of mayonnaise.
So tell us, how are you finding the farmers and the small homesteaders and that around the state for your magazine articles?
That's been the fun part. It's got
Yeah.
to be word of mouth. Like when we came to your festival back in May, that was so fun. Y'all did such a great job putting that on.
Oh,
We met
thanks.
Thanks.
so many people then, and it was just there that network kind of grew.
hmm
We started with the stories that we knew, but even some of them were like, we had no idea who these people were. It literally was us talking to somebody who was talking to somebody who was talking to somebody and said, "Oh my gosh, you got to talk to this person. You got to hear their story. You got to hear what they're doing." And
Mhm.
it has just grown from there to the point I think we've got we put out 5 stories every issue. That's just the farmer stories, and then we have a Kidsteader story, and then we have 2 recurring articles. One is on holistic husbandry, a retired vet, and then the other one is on herbal care and what you can grow in your garden to do your own herbal medicine. And we have enough stories now all the way through, I think, until July of next year.
Wow.
That
It's
is
just
fantastic.
story after they're just people are like, "Oh, you got to talk to this person." And so it's that word
Yeah.
of mouth. And
Yeah.
we love telling the stories. I love just hearing people talk. It's so fun.
I bet that you get a lot of like family history stuff in those
Mm,
stories. That's my favorite to
mhm,
hear
Mhm.
how somebody so and so owned this land and
mhm,
or didn't, but they there's another local dairy and they aren't from here, and so like they just bought land, but his great grandfather was like the biggest dairy farmer in another state at one time. And so they're kind of
mhm,
bringing it back and resetting here. And so
mhm,
those family history stories that come with
mhm.
homesteading, I think is so cool because it really reconnects us back to those old ways. And that's what a lot of people are
Yes.
looking for.
Yeah.
So,
It's that simple living concept that folks are thriving for, I think.
mm,
Uh-huh.
But that you've really hit it that the pioneer stories are probably my favorite. Just to hear how the history of Florida was and what
yeah.
folks did back in the day. Um, that's been the cool part is just resonating with it. And when you get a gentleman who's in his 80s and he just starts talking to you about what he used to do, what his granddaddy used to do, their face just lights up. And
Uh-huh.
that right there, that's where you just want to sit back with a glass of iced tea and just say, just keep talking. Just keep telling me.
Yes. Oh, I
'Cause
can't wait. I can't
yeah,
wait. That's so
it's
cool.
fun.
I love it.
hmm Mm-hmm. It is very cool. So fun.
That's neat.
That is neat.
I
Mhm.
was talking to a lady that lives down the road from me. She's in her 80s, and
Mhm.
she was telling me because the road that we live on, it's just like really like hilly and it's like a little curvy and there's kind of no rhyme or reason to it. And she was telling me that she's lived down here since before the road was paved. And when they originally started making that road, they just followed the original path that the cows walked.
Oh,
And so that's why the road just kind of meanders, kind of just back and forth because the cows were just strolling through. And she's like, that's how they made the road.
wow.
That
That's
is
cool.
that's neat.
I love
That
stories
is
like
very neat.
I
that.
know. I thought that's
Mhm.
really neat. It puts
Mhm.
my road into perspective for me, you know?
Yeah, I think that local connection too is
Hmm.
cool.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
I love that.
Mhm.
Mhm. And different people, and like you mentioned, the local connection. There's so many different stories and different regions of Florida that it really, that book, what is it?
The land remembered?
The Land Remembered.
Yes.
Yeah, and it just really kind of, when you start talking to these old timers and you start visualizing what that was, and
Yeah.
it brings that book to life.
It
So,
it really does. Yeah.
mhm,
And that's what I think of when I think of your area of the state
mhm,
down in South Central Florida. I know
mhm.
you guys probably call it Central Florida. To us, it's
Yeah.
South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South is Miami.
I know Florida's so diverse. So,
Right.
as far as the regions go and growing
Mhm,
seasons and all of that, but that's what I think of when I think of your area is
mhm.
a land remembered for sure, and
It
cracker
is.
cattle, and I
Mhm,
imagine cattle drives across the state, and during hurricane season, and like
mhm,
how did people survive then? And then not only
mhm,
survive, but hung on to a little plot of land and passed it
mhm,
down and passed the
mhm,
skills down, because that's something that just seems lost anymore.
mhm. I was talking to the current president of the Cracker Cattle Association, and he was telling me just some of the stories. In fact, they're going to be in an upcoming issue, and I'm excited about that. But to see the Cracker Trail come to life, and we are so fortunate because the way the path goes, it literally comes through our town.
Yeah.
And every February, our neighbor has a lot more pasture than we do, but the all of the cracker guys, and the cowboys, they come out and they will bunk. They pop up their tents and they bunk in his property, which is butts up to the back end of ours.
Oh,
And
cool.
so when the cracker cattle and the cowboys are out there, we sit on our back porch at night and we listen to them cracking the whips and yeehawing and all this stuff. But by 9 o'clock, they're gone to bed because it's late for them.
It's going to be an early morning coming.
It's an early
Keep
morning, and they do.
going.
That early morning comes up and sun's up, you hear them cracking and
Uh-huh.
yeehawing, and it's a huge mass line of of horses and things like that. You see the chuck wagon, and it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
that
It's
is
very cool
cool.
to
That
see.
sounds
Mhm.
awesome.
That
Mhm.
is neat. I like watching
Mhm.
people work cows on horseback.
Mhm.
The property that beside us that my cows are on now, before my cows were out there, a bigger cattle rancher had a pretty decent sized herd of cows out there. And that's what they would do. They would come over with their horses and work cows, and we homeschool. And like when that happened, no, we're going
Homeschool.
outside. We're going to go. And we would sit out there and watch like all day.
Mhm.
Uh,
It is,
that's
absolutely.
cool. So can you give us any kind of sneak peek of other farms or homes around the state who are in that first edition?
I can. We have Steve, our Coco came also. They are doing homesteading on what blows my mind. They
Mm.
have some trees, fruit trees on this
No.
acre. They have garden. They have chickens, meat chickens, lambs, ducks in there, turkey. They have uh, sheep or dairy sheep, and they have pigs, additional thing, and then they have their house. So And the house takes up about a third of the property. So that just, and they have bees, they have a whole food forest, and it's just crazy. They're just a few miles off of the Atlantic coast, and they have
Mhm.
been able to do all of this on that white sandy conditions that they have in cocoa. And
Florida soil.
so yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's it,
Soil.
Right.
right?
But how inspiring that they can do all of that on 1 acre.
Mhm.
Those are some of my
Yeah.
favorite stories too. That's
Yeah,
really
just to see
cool.
what they're doing. And then we have another couple who actually came from Michigan. They had been living in Orlando and decided, nope, this is not the way they wanted to live. And they found some property, but they had to teach themselves how to do Florida climate
Right.
and that Florida soil, like you mentioned.
Well, because back in
And
Michigan, we could grow beautiful
mhm,
tomatoes with no effort.
mhm, right, exactly. Not so much here.
Uh-huh.
Or at least not the way they were doing it. Not they
Uh-huh.
couldn't. So they had to learn. And she actually wrote a book on it, which is pretty cool. And then we have a few that are talking about gardens. We have another one that's doing A2 dairy
Mhm.
down in Arcadia. So we've got a story on that and that healing component to that raw milk. And then of course our Kidsteader is amazing. She's 14 years old. She shows sheep, say that 3 times fast,
Right.
and and local and state competitions and things, and is part of her FFA, and actually went all the way to DC to petition her congressman to help support and advocate for ag classes and things like that in schools. And she's
Nice.
14 years old.
Love it.
So
Fantastic.
I love it.
yeah,
She
so the
sounds like
kids,
she's going to go far.
Yeah.
she's gonna go far. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't wait for y'all to meet her. And she's got a podcast, or she's on the podcast also, so you get to see her and meet her that way too. But
Very
she is
cool.
such a sweetheart, so cute.
Aw.
And then of course our recurring articles as well. But
Sure.
so
Sure.
yeah,
That's exciting. So your
yeah.
first issue comes out, remind us
In
again.
just a couple weeks,
Okay.
it's going to start hitting mailboxes the end of October, 1st of November. If you have the digital component side of it, you'll see that November 1st. And it can all be accessed through our website. And the website, if you're not a subscriber, you'll be able to see a little bit of the glimpse of the first few pages, just to kind of give you a little teaser. And then after that, it's going to be like, ha, no, you got to subscribe.
Right.
Well, sure.
You just
Sign
thought
up.
you got lucky.
You got a commitment, man. So, is there a deadline to subscribe to be able to get that first issue?
No, you could still subscribe right now until I hit. We're putting the labels on the magazines ourselves, so
Okay.
you want to
We
talk
haven't
about
yet,
mama?
Right.
but we're
Yeah,
gonna.
We haven't, but we
yeah,
both want to subscribe. So that was a
yeah,
good answer.
Yeah.
yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
mean, I think that'll be fun. It'll be something to look
Mhm,
forward to showing up in the
mhm.
mailbox instead of all that junk mail, you know?
Oh my gosh,
So
yeah. There's
very
just
fun.
something about getting a magazine in the mail, and it's
Yeah.
like getting a letter in the mail. It's
Uh-huh.
just, it's that, that art format of, to me, it's the smell of the paper and the texture of the paper, and just taking the time to disconnect from anything electrical, and
Sure.
and just looking at something in your hands is the creation of it is just, I love it.
Yeah,
So,
I bet. That's cool.
mhm,
So
yeah,
November 1st, and then the next one would
November 1st.
be January, I assume.
January.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, end
Uh,
of December, 1st of January. Like, we're already putting that together now. It's a quick it's
I
a quick turnaround.
bet. It's a busy life.
It is busy, but I love
Lots
it.
of
It's
content
fun.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the website?
www.thefloridahomesteader.com. All spelled
Okay,
out.
that's easy.
That's easy.
Mhm. And everything.
TheFloridaHomesteader.com.
Yeah, thefloridahomesteader.com, and everything is the magazine, the website, the podcast, the YouTube, the social medias, everything is the same name.
Okay.
Cool.
Keeping it
Very
simple.
cool.
Mhm.
All
Yes.
right.
Nice.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your homestead. What do you got going on there?
Oh, well, we took the summer off as far as meat birds goes. We found in previous years it's just too hot here
Yep.
to try to
We
grow
don't do
them.
meat birds in the summer.
We don't do them during
Uh-uh.
hurricane season. That's my rule. No
That
summer, no
Yes,
hurricane
absolutely.
season. Mm-mm.
Yes, absolutely, because it's just too much.
It is.
And so we actually started about a month ago. We brought in some more chicks, And so next month will be, around festival time, magazine comes
Right.
out.
You've got
Let's
nothing
Right.
else
process
to
some
do.
chickens
Right.
too,
Right.
Process
why
these
not?
birds.
Right. You need more chores.
Why not? So we have our meat birds that we love to raise. We just processed one of our steer, so we
Nice.
have that. So we have some cattle. We love raising. Well, I say love. It depends on their mood. We the boar goats.
I used to say, I know you have goats because I once
Yes.
called you and there was a goat catastrophe or something was happening and they were they were very loud in the background and you were like, I'm so sorry. I just have these goats.
That's why I said we love it. And then I was like, well, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
So we we have
Yeah.
boar we have boar goats, but the really cool part about that is that we raise those for kids to show in the fairs. So our
Okay.
Okay.
local associations, they allow kids to show the goats,
Mhm.
and these are meat goats, obviously. But to see and to teach kids that component and what that looks like, and get their interest in ag and getting them involved in raising animals and understanding that they get sick or if something happens in the animal, and just it's that teachable moment for us. And so
Mhm.
we thoroughly love doing that. And then we have your typical laying chickens and ducks, and we do have quail, and we have miniature donkeys. And so we just have cats, dogs,
Right. A plethora.
Oh, we have it all. But we
What a
did just
variety.
start our fall garden, and we're
Yep.
really excited about that. So we've got a combination of, we did more raised beds this year than
Mhm.
we
Hmm.
have in the past. And
Mhm.
we've got some things like our sweet potatoes and things like that. We've got those in the ground.
Mhm.
But most of everything else we're doing in raised beds, or those green stalk column
Yep.
beds. We've got some of those, and everything is just coming up beautifully, and it's so exciting. So
This cooler weather is so nice, isn't it?
it
It's the
is.
best time to garden in Florida.
Yeah.
It is. You're not having to get out there in that heat. So
Yeah, we've
I
been
love it.
actually both of us on the raised bed kick here lately as well.
Hmm.
And my garden is half raised beds and half in ground. And I've just said, forget it. I'm just adding more
Hmm.
raised beds in. And
Hmm.
I love my raised beds. Like I
Yeah.
Hmm.
just would rather garden there.
Yeah.
And so even if I'm gonna do sweet potatoes or I don't know, like some melon things, I might probably leave out and like the end of it
Yeah.
is gonna remain my fruit trees and stuff. So I'll run
Hmm.
vining things under the fruit trees, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I just think I'm just going to plant as much as I can and raise beds
Hmm.
and let that be that. And then Jenny's just started
Yeah,
some raised beds.
I just transitioned, and I mean I'll still garden in my big in-ground garden. I will, but it got so insane over the summer. I joke it's like that movie Feed Me Seymour, like the plant that like takes over and like eats people is about how my in-ground garden makes me feel right now. So I was not even going to try to get it under control and clean it up. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start a new garden.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been
Yeah.
gardening in the same spot for 10 years. And I mean, I'm like, yep, just time for a change.
Time for
So
Hmm.
change.
it was further away from my house, my big garden. And so my new garden is right off my back porch. It's all
Nice.
raised beds. It's got a nice fence around it. So I'm
Hmm.
digging the raised beds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. When we first started ours out this season, so we've done this a few times and we know better, but we didn't get our we didn't get our
Right.
fencing up right away.
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
so every day I kept going out, oh yay, everything's growing, it's beautiful. And then the next day I go out and the dang deer got all of my green beans and
Oh,
everything. I was like, "Grr, where's the deer stand? We're putting venison in the refrigerator because that dang deer they ate
whatever
my
it
green
takes.
beans." We have a fence now, but
Yeah,
but it's
my
just
sheep demolished my first round of green beans. They were looking so good, and them sheep came through there. I was like, dang it.
Mm.
But I mean, my fault. Like I didn't have the
yeah,
fence up. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all sheep proof now. So
Mhm. Mhm. Hey, how are y'all doing with your dirt? Like, do you get for your raised beds, are you bringing in dirt that you have, or what is that
To get
what
started,
does it look
yes.
like in Jacksonville?
I did.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's white sugar sand like everywhere
It
else,
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
honestly.
It is. Yeah. It took me a long time in my in-ground garden to get the soil where it's good. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually even entertained the idea of moving some soil, but I'm like, no, that's insane. I'm not going to do
I
that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
would.
Yeah.
so no, we have a pretty good nursery where you can buy in bulk. And I mean, they
Okay.
just delivered it by the truckload. So
Nice.
that made it easy.
Even my the in-ground half of my garden, we've been there for 4.5 years now. This is our fourth gardening season there or year there. And I mean, that we're on a sand mountain, I always say, and that sand, it
Mm-hmm.
just eats and eats. Like everything
It
just
does.
disappears there.
Mm-hmm.
And so even the good soil that I have purchased or compost that I've made and put down, it's just gone. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but the raised beds do better. I don't know why that is. I really don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they do.
Yeah, I feel like I'm having to fertilize more with these raised beds. And I mean,
Are you?
it's probably because my in-ground garden was no-till for so long and it
Yeah.
just good soil.
It was just established.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think my soil is going to take some time to get there, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll just stay on top of the fertilizer.
And then after
Mm-hmm.
and beyond that, I add in layers of
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Right,
whatever I can find.
Mm-hmm.
right.
For about the last year, it's been, I have a mower, a push mower with a bag on
Mm-hmm.
it just for collecting leaves. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're on an oak hill and we have a lot of live oaks. And so I'll go out in the fields where the live oaks are and collect leaves. And that's been really good as far as like they break down faster than say
Mm-hmm.
like wood chips.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been good for adding stuff, but it doesn't necessarily hold moisture in.
Right.
But this year, I started helping a good friend of mine who has goats clean out her kidding pen. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking all that goat bedding,
Mm-hmm.
and that has been great. So finally, I have like worms coming in and the
Mm-hmm.
soil staying moist underneath. And like I said, I'll put anything in there that's organic.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
I'm digging trenches and putting banana peels and coffee grounds in there, and
Mm-hmm.
I made a connection this year with a local mushroom farmer, and he brought me like a yard of spent mushroom medium. It's
Mm-hmm.
not mushroom compost, but it would be if I composted it down. But it's like sawdust,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like compacted together, and then they grow their mushrooms in it. And so
Mm-hmm.
he dumped that off, and that's been great to add. So it's adding that fungal life in.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, whatever I can throw in there, I'll throw in there. Try to build that soil up.
We're trying something different because we've done the same thing. We've gone to our nursery, pulled in some black dirt that they had for us that we could use for the garden beds. But we're doing a little bit of combination of that, but also on part of our property we have muck. So we're adding a little bit of that muck in
Hmm.
there with this obviously the sand, but not the white sand, it's more of a gray sand.
Hmm.
And
Right.
we're all of the stalls, like our donkey stalls, our cows, our goats, even the chickens, we take the chicken when we clean out their house and we keep it off to the side and let it sit. But we pile all that together and we've been letting it sit up and for about 6 months and just turning it every once in a while with the tractor or whatever. And it has just that stuff just broke down and it made the best looking, almost black dirt look. And I was
Sure.
like, "Oh, I'm so excited." So
Right.
this is our first year doing this, and that's
Nice.
what we did. We had a bunch of well, Duke Energy came through and they took down a lot of our trees for the power lines, preparing for the hurricane. And I asked them, I said, "Can I have the wood chippings off of that? They're off our trees," and they did. So
Right.
they dumped 2 huge truckloads of wood
Mm,
chips. And
Nice.
so we just took that and put that in our garden. Of course, that's going to break down. It's beautiful. It's not
Yep.
treated.
yep.
Yep.
And we put our homemade dirt on it. And then every week we with our ducks, we've been cleaning out their little duck pool. And we
Hmm.
use the duck water as our fertilizer and putting it everywhere that we need. And so we're trying that aspect to see, okay, we're doing everything on the homestead concept,
Yeah.
Yeah.
using what
Closing
we
the
have.
loop.
Trying
Yeah.
that. So
Absolutely.
we'll let you know if they grow or not, but doesn't
Because
hurt to
something
try
has
it.
to grow. Something has to
Something's
like
got to
that.
grow. The weeds are going great right now, but
That's awesome. I love that idea of using what you've got
Using
there.
what you've got.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
Yep,
the kind
absolutely.
of the mountain we like to preach on too, is
Mm-hmm.
use what you've got, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be complicated. And
Mm-mm.
there's a lot of figure it out ofness that
Yeah.
happens
Oh,
with homestead
absolutely.
life,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
maybe it's more like the Velcro approach. Just keep throwing
See what
it.
sticks.
See what sticks.
Something's got to stick at some point.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, any other questions? I don't think so either.
No.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about the magazine?
Oh, just well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to let me come on here and share about it. If
Yeah.
you have stories, if you know of anyone who's
Oh,
got
girl, I got a
like,
bunch of people to send you.
oh, I can't wait. Yes, send them our way. There is absolutely no charge to be featured in the magazine. This is our
Okay.
gift to tell your story. We want to keep that legacy going. We want to inspire and encourage others. So if you've got stories out there, send them to us. The website has my email address. You can email them that way. Recipes, I forgot to mention, we have some
Oh,
amazing Southern recipes.
I was going to
So
ask.
yes, there's a recipe section. You can't have a Florida Homesteading magazine without recipes. So if you have a favorite homestead recipe that it was passed down generation, or just something you created yourself, send that to us. We would love to feature that in the magazine as well. And then obviously, we can't make this happen without subscribers and also advertisers. So if you are a business that wants to support the idea of helping get these stories across the state, then call us up. We'll be happy to partner with you too. So
Very
but
cool.
just
very
yes,
nice.
yes.
Well, thanks
But
for
thank
coming
you.
on and
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yeah.
We're so
Yes.
excited for you. We're excited to get down to your event in November as
Yes.
well.
Yes, that'll be fun. November 7th and 8th. I'm not sure when this podcast comes out, but November 7th and 8th is going to be the Pioneer Festival Homesteading in the Heartland. And we've got workshops and festival component, and then also a workshop component. So we're excited to have the speakers and Joel Salatin and Rachel Hester, Laura Cox, Katya with Slavic Beauty. All of them are coming in. So it'll be a fun event. For sure.
Fun.
Very nice.
Yes.
Fun.
Very nice. Well, we're looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you. I can't wait to see y'all.
All right, you as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.